I am so excited today that I am able to share with you the most amazing podcast recorded today with Ali LionHeart. Today's topic is about the secrets, unleashing our inner child, nurturing joy and healing. When it comes to inner child, there's no one better for me to talk to about when it comes with Ali LionHeart. Get ready to be inspired by Ali LionHeart, a person on a mission of self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. Despite being successful in a high-level job, Ali felt something was missing in life. This led to a transformative journey to find his true purpose. Through his LionHeart Method, Ali helps those feeling stuck to break free and find their inner strength. He guides them to overcome obstacles, let go of limiting beliefs, and embrace their worth. With heartfelt coaching and healing, Ali unlocks unlimited potential in others. His story is a powerful reminder of the incredible impact of self-discovery. Join Ali LionHeart on a journey of finding your purpose and unleashing your true potential. Prepare to be inspired and empowered like never before. Let's talk to Ali LionHeart. Okay, I am so excited to have one of my favorite friends live with me today on this podcast. Excited to have him here because we have so much to talk about. I have this beautiful energy and vibrancy of like love for this guy, okay? So I really hope that you enjoy this conversation because we're going to be talking about inner child. And the first thing I want to say is welcome. Welcome to Fit Inspired Mama podcast. I'm so excited to have you here. If you've listened to Fit Inspired Mama podcast before, you've noticed that Ali was with me on the last conversation we had about relationships and what women want in a relationship. So if you've not heard it yet, you need to go and hear it as well. Check him out. He's amazing. And today we're going to talk about inner child. So Ali, so nice to have you here. Let's have this conversation. I want you to tell us a little bit about you because you basically bring yourself out as LionHeart. This is the way you talk. You talk about, I'm LionHeart. So can you explain that? Explain to me what LionHeart is.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for the lovely introduction. I appreciate everything that you do and the work that you do for the community and the work that you do for everything out there. You know, your service is incredible. So thank you. And thank you for having me.
Oh, so excited to have you. You have no idea.
I've been really excited about this conversation myself. So yeah, LionHeart. LionHeart's a long story. I'll try and make it as short as possible. But LionHeart came to me after I decided to start doing some inner work. And it began in 2016 when I had lost my mother. So the way I describe my journey is I'm blessed to have a mother who gave me birth twice. She gave me birth once in a human form by bringing me into this world, and I was reborn again when I lost her in 2016.
Very nice way of bringing that up. Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, so in 2016, when I lost my mom, my life was what most people would consider perfect. You know, I had a job as a high-level executive at a marketing firm. I had a beautiful home with a view. I was driving a nice car. I had a great relationship. You know, great girl in my life. But when I lost my mom, I said, you know, what is the point of everything? Am I really? Are these things really making me happy? And I went on this intense self-discovery journey as to who am I? Why am I here? What am I to do? And through that work, I was exploring myself and understanding that there are so many parts of us that have experienced the past, parts of us that worry about the future, and then our regular selves, our day to day that have to survive. How do I make money? How do I pay my mortgage? All of that. And as I started doing that work, I got introduced to my inner child. And when I met my inner child, he was just this playful, loving, hugging teddy bear. And my true self, which was my current way of living, was so far apart from that version. So he didn't feel seen, heard, and understood. And when I asked him, one piece of advice, he said, just be LionHeart. Oh. And when he asked me for one piece of advice, I told him, just be LionHeart, never change. And that day onwards, we made a pact that not only are we going to be LionHeart, we're going to help others find their LionHeart. And why LionHeart is because we all have masculine and feminine energy, whether you're male or female, we're all built of masculine and feminine. Lion represents the masculine that we all need to have, and heart represents the feminine energy that we all need to have. And when you boil down to it, your masculine is your provider, your protector, your lion. And each of us have to do that for ourselves. We can't rely on another to do it for us. And that lion means, if I needed to, I can find a shelter, I can find food, I can find safety for myself. And heart is, when I'm sad, I'm allowed to feel that way. When I'm angry, I'm allowed to feel that way. When I'm emotional, I'm allowed to feel that way. I'm allowed to understand hormones in my body will make me feel certain ways. And they're just opening up places for us to go look where there might be some trauma, some shame, some guilt, and just gently go in there and take a look and do the work around it. So ultimately, the goal is that everybody finds their LionHeart. And I'm not just LionHeart, but everybody's LionHeart, so that we can find that beautiful balance between masculine and feminine energy.
I just love how you put masculine and feminine energy into one beautiful phrase of just LionHeart. That is absolutely amazing. As you can see, we have a lion right up here. If you can see this and on a YouTube channel, oh my God, we have a lion. And it was just a perfect timing for him to actually make this work as a LionHeart. I love that. And so today I feel like I am your LionHeart today, because I'm going to learn a lot from you today. And I'm excited to have that conversation with you. You've gone through so much in your life to be here today. You've gone through ups and downs to find this LionHeart of yours, inner child, for this huge journey that you've gone through. Tell us one thing that you've gone through that you can share with us so that we can see this journey within you, that maybe others are probably going through a very similar phase, that they can feel it and say, yes, I get this. I get what you were going through.
Yeah. It's just the feeling of being stuck, I think, is the biggest challenge that any human has, right? You're here for a reason, and you know that you're not doing what's making you happy, but you're afraid to go look at what's on the other side of that, because change can be scary. But where the scariness is where, the answers live. There's a saying, and I might butcher it, but a very close friend of mine says it all the time. And he says, the cave you fear to enter the most holds the treasure you seek. So if you think about it, wherever you're afraid to go is where your treasure lies. And for me, that's what was the scariest when I started my journey. The scariest was, whoa, I identify as a high-level executive at a marketing firm. When people ask me, what do you do for a living? I tell them that. I get respect. I have authority. I have power. And the scary thing was to let that go, because if I let that go, who am I? And when I quit that job and I decided, you know what, I've had enough. Can't do this anymore. It's not who I am. I had an identity crisis, because now people would ask me, what do you do? And I'd go, sales. I was ashamed of what I did, whereas before I was proud of what I did, but I didn't like what I did before. Why? Because I was seeking validation from others. You tell me I'm good enough to be your friend, or you tell me I'm good enough to have your respect. Whereas now when people ask me what I do, it's more about, I respond without them even realizing it. I tell them who I am. I don't tell them what I do. They might ask what I do, but I respond back with who I am, because what I do does not describe who I am. And I think a lot of us have that struggle, is just seeking that identity in what we do versus who we truly are, and finding peace in that. And to me, that's one of the biggest lessons I've had to learn, is just to be at peace with who I am, where I am, and to always stay focused on where I'd like to go without any, outside distractions. So yeah, that was quite quite a tumultuous journey that is fun to share now.
I love that. So if I had to ask you, who are you?
I am love, essentially. I think when you realize that everybody in the world is going through the absolute same thing, whether it's someone you think is unbelievably good looking, but they're looking in the mirror every morning and going, I hate the way I look.
Oh, yes.
Or someone that's, sitting in a CEO's office going, I hate my effing job, equally to someone who's a cashier at a grocery store saying the same thing. Every one of us is going through the same relationship issues, the same financial issues, the same self-image issues. And once you realize that, if you just treated all those parts with love and care, and positivity and positive reinforcement, life would be a beautiful thing to live, and we'd be really good to each other. So for me, I think who I am, I'm love. I'm LionHeart. I'm the divine masculine when I need to be. I'm the divine feminine when I need to be, and I'm completely fine on the days I'm angry. I'm okay with that. The days I feel like I'm not good enough, I'm okay with that, because I'm the only one who's going to love myself out of that. And because I can love myself out of those things, I can now love others better than I've ever loved before.
It is so beautiful to hear you say that. I remember my first journey was also about looking through a lens of what other people were thinking about me, and I was trying to be others, not myself. I tried to fit into other people's shoes. Why don't they like me? Why am I different? Why am I not someone that they want to be? I was either trying to be like someone, trying to please other people, but I never looked within myself. Mm-hmm. And it was that journey that led me through this podcast. The first podcast that I had was just who I am, me. And that was the first podcast I put in there, knowing that every single person today has their own journey. Mm-hmm. And every single person today is going through their own life. Yeah. And if we continue to try to please others, we're not going to continue our own journey. We're going to try to continue other people's journey. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So today when I'm here with you, it's all about you. It's all about, where did you come from? Like, I get it, because when I hear you talking, I'm getting tears in my eyes. That's how beautiful this conversation is. An inner child of just trying to heal to become this person that they want to be. They want to get out. They want to take it out. They want their spirit to come out and shine. Yeah. This is what we're all looking for. And it's so hard for so many of us to go through that because they don't get it. So what is this inner child? How can we get this inner child out to anyone out there that's listening? How can we work through that journey so our relationships, our self-worth is back to us, is who we are? Yeah. How do we get there?
I'll give you the shortcut first, and then I'll give you the long answer. The shortcut is really, if you can really tune into who you were as a child, just sit, meditate, journal, write, voice record yourself, video record yourself. There's not just one form of processing thought. Everyone thinks, I don't like journaling, I get bored. There's so many different ways. Journal, meditate, record yourself, video record, voice record. But just take some time. 60 minutes to yourself a week is not much to ask for. You're doing more than that for a job that's probably unfulfilling. Take 60 minutes for yourself that's fulfilling, and ask yourself, who was I as a child? And you'll notice that a lot of the similarities as to who you were as a child is who you want to be as an adult.
I love that.
Right? And once you realize that, you'll start connecting with that inner child version of you more and more and more. And if you think about, anybody that knew me as an inner child, he's hilarious, he's goofy, he's fun, he's loving, he just cares so much. He's always smiling. He's always hugging. And if you've known me long enough to know a previous adult version of me who was not that.
Yeah.
You know, he was trying to be that. Parts of him would show up that way, but then he'd get uncomfortable and run away from that feeling. And then connecting to, wait a second, that's who I want to be as an adult. And now that's who you see me showing up authentically as this loving, caring Lionheart. You know, I can be the masculine when you need me to. Otherwise, I'm just going to be in my feminine and have a great time because it's fun there. You know, it's fun to feel emotions. It's fun to smile and laugh and cry and do the work because I'm getting closer and closer to the fully authentic version of myself that I've ever wanted to be.
That's so beautiful. If I think about my inner child that way, I was very curious.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a curiosity person. I like to find new ways to have fun. I get bored very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Get bored very quickly. And then when I get bored, I try to find another way to make it fun again.
Yes.
And that's who I was as a child. And now that I think about it, I'm learning something from you I probably never learned in so long. It's like, why? Now what? Every single chapter I write, it's like, now what? Now what? And it was getting a boredom. I needed to change something around. It's similar to having my own home, about having like, okay, so the couches are facing some way. For me as a child, I wanted to change those couches every 6 to 7 months because I needed a new look or a new phase in my life or something fun. Like, I think that's why traveling was so important to me too. Now that you're talking about that, I love that you said that. Look at your inner child and see what they love and what they needed and what they wanted, because that is what you want. Your soul is looking for.
Yeah.
And we forget that. And it doesn't just come with the fact that your job or the things that you're doing. It's more about what sparks you, what makes you happy. Thank you for sharing that. I love that. Tell me a little bit more about, okay, so when you're working with your clients, what are some of the ups and downs that they go through that you can kind of share and say, you know, how do you work with them and allow them to be who they are, but then help them kind of find that inner child?
Well, let's take a moment and kind of, I love that question, and it's kind of cool because where my head was heading, which is why we flow so smoothly, was just to talk about some of the stuff that you talked about, your inner child, and now we can show live sort of what I do. Because I was listening to you talk, and you said your inner child was always curious.
Yes.
And you can see since you started doing the inner work to yourself, you started a podcast.
Yes.
What is a podcast? It's curiosity. It's asking others questions.
Yeah.
So you're tuned into that inner child version of yourself. Yeah. Every time I see you on a podcast, you are glowing. Yeah. You're smiling. You're happy. Look at you now. Yeah. Right? Because your inner child's curiosity is being nurtured. You're giving her space to go be curious. Go ask questions. Meet whoever you want. Yeah. Talk to whoever you want. You're allowing your inner child to come forth in your podcast.
I love it.
You think again, since you started doing the work, you've written a book. You've done your health and nutrition. You're now coaching and spreading your medicine and your healing that way with doing some incredible work with women out there that are struggling. You're doing this podcast. You're allowing her to do multiple things at the same time. Because it's okay if she gets bored.
Yeah.
Do you see? We're raised, don't get bored. Stick to one thing. Da, 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 da. And then we become this hard-ass adult.
Wow.
That feels like we're just trapped. But you have let your inner child, without knowing it, you already have let your inner child free. Because you're saying, hey, you want to do multiple things? Do it. Nothing can stop you. It's allowed. You can still make a living. You can still survive by doing multiple things and get bored. You can pique your curiosity. Remember, again, growing up in our culture, be careful who you ask. Be careful what you're asking people. Da, 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 da. Right? Now you're allowing that curiosity to flow. It's that inner child that just wants to flow. Your inner child is truly the closest to your soul you'll ever be. Right? It has all the answers. So the more you keep tuning into that, the more you'll just notice your life fall into place, and it's fun. Life becomes fun because you're letting the inner child play. So you ask, what do I do with my clients and what challenge do I face? This, right? It's helping them find what their inner child is saying through what I call identity work. So the first thing I do with any client is identity work. And we separate the nonsense from the logic. Because you know how your mind has multiple thoughts all the time.
Yes.
It's like there's all this, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, all this positive, and then there's the I can't do this, but what am I going to pack for lunch tomorrow? What's this? What's that? All of that.
Yeah.
My job is to separate the noise and just focus on what's coming up as an identity. Who do I want to be? So my first 2 or 3 sessions are literally based on building your identity. Who do you want to be? And what we do is we narrow it down, so we take off all the noise. And I'll give you an example. One of my beautiful clients, we started working with her, and she was lost. She didn't know what she wanted to be, and eventually we decided on the fact that she was someone who wanted to be a healer. She wanted to have her own practice on the island somewhere where she did one-on-one retreats, and she was raising her kids consciously, living off the land, and has a beautiful relationship with a co-parenting relationship with her ex-husband. And once we isolated that, now you see there's a destination. We know where she's going.
Yeah.
Now we can start making decisions based on that. Where most people's mind has chaos. Now, when you're on Instagram and you see someone else driving a Lamborghini, or you see someone else in Mexico, doing tequila shots, you're going, oh, I wish I had that. Well, let's go back to your identity. Does it say trips to Mexico? Does it say tequila shots? Does it say Lamborghini? No. Your inner child will be happy with all of this. Don't get distracted by that. Let's stay on path to getting you to your identity. And who's telling me your identity in our sessions? Your inner child is, and your higher self. So there's a little bit of spirituality to my work. I don't bring it. My coaching is not spiritual coaching. It's very real life coaching, because I want to see you make an impact on your real life, not in your spiritual work. Lots of people that do the spiritual work stuff. I want to see you evolve and transform in your life. And I have a lot of friends that are in the fitness world and fitness coaches. And I love you guys for what you do. You're such a blessing. I keep repeating that. But I always describe with them is, when you get a client and they're out of shape, they can barely move, and they come to you, and 3 months later, they're shredded, they're looking good, they're running. That high you get?
Yeah.
I see the same transformation, except for in their life.
In their life. Oh.
So, they come to me and they're struggling, and by the end, they figured out who they are and where they want to go, and they're making the right decisions without any anxiousness. It's just like, okay, I know where I'm going. And the cool thing about your identity is it's not locked in. You can change it anytime. We can change it tomorrow. Now you want to move to France. Now you want to do this. You want to do that. Okay, cool. Let's change our identity, and then we change our action. Right? And it's just really getting you to what I call flow state. It's just figuring yourself out and listening to the wisdom in your mind. It's extracting your own wisdom and putting it into play. We all have wisdom. We all get downloads. We all clearly know who we are. My job is, how do we translate that into English and then into executable pieces in your life so that you can start making a difference for yourself. And when you make a difference for yourself, you make a difference for people around you.
I love that. That is so beautifully said. I really like how you put that together with personal training and training your clients compared to when you're working more about their life. That makes a big difference in the storytelling. When I hear you talk, I always think about how everyone's going through a journey of, everything that's happening in our life. I think our soul needs the body that we need to live in this world, right? That soul is stuck between what it knows compared to our head. This is what I believe. Our soul has this journey that it wants to go to. It's leading you there, but our head has a different method of how to live, because we have this fight and flight method in our body. We have all of these fears in our body. We have so much going on, and it all depends on the way that we grow from childhood. It's like having a pot of flour. The way that you water it, the way you talk to that flower, the way you feel with that flower, the way that you feel with that pot is the way that that flower is going to grow. Either it's going to grow straight, or it's going to grow and it won't grow as much as it wants to grow, depending on the way that you treat it or feed it, or what you feed, if you give it the right nutrients and stuff for it to actually grow. I think all of this matters from the time we are that young, what our parents feed us, what our friends feed us, how we feel about ourselves, what we go through, every little detail is going to get us to a stage where we're a little bit older. I mean, you also brought up a little bit about curiosity and, letting that fun come in. I think about my kids, actually.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting about that because sometimes as parents, we are doing what our parents did to us.
That's a beautiful.
And sometimes they'll be like, no, you can't do this. No, you can't wear that. No, you can't do any of this. And that's like, because this can happen. But we're forgetting that they have feelings and they have ways of doing that. If you don't let them try, how will they know for themselves? And today I feel so bad because I didn't let my daughter wear a certain dress because I said, you're going to rip it. But I was like, how do I know she's going to rip it? Maybe she'll be fine with it, And today I was like, okay, that is something I need to work on. And I think that is where I need to sit down and be like, how much does she want this? Should I say no, or should I say go for it?
I think it's a balance. Sorry if I cut you off.
Yeah, please.
It's a balance, right? Imagine having this conversation and saying, hey, I'm hesitant to let you wear this dress today. My fear is that you may rip it.
Yeah.
How confident do you feel that you're capable of taking care of it?
Yeah.
Okay. Mom,
I
feel great. Okay, cool. I'm going to trust you today. And if you rip it, next time, will you trust my judgment if I tell you no?
I like that. I like that approach.
We have to talk to our children like they're adults, but it's cool that you talked about the plant and the child, because ultimately, before you can even do that with your own plant or your own child, the only way you'll learn how to do that properly is when you do it first.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I say to myself, oh, I'm really nervous about going to this party, I'll say to myself, okay, but have you thought about it this way? Why don't we go test it out? We'll test your theory out. And if you're nervous and you're right, it goes poorly, next time I'll trust you because I'll know you're my gut.
Yeah.
Right? But it's really talking to yourself that way and being gentle with yourself and loving yourself, because sometimes you want to wear something and you're shy or you have a lack of confidence, right? But what about saying to yourself, hey, you know what? Part of me is feeling a lack of confidence. Can we explore that? Why is it? And then you can choose to wear the dress or not wear the dress from a conscious, because you chose to actually experience that feeling, right? And that's where you get that sense of calm. And you'll find that sense of calm in other relationships as well, whether children or romantic relationships. When you come from that place of, I see you, I hear you, I understand you, I get where you're coming from. Now, is it possible that we can explore something different? And you can see how the mood changes, how even your energy changes, how you feel calm in your shoulders and your neck and your heart chakra. Everything just calms down and life just becomes so much more easier flowing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I am so thankful for you for this, because sometimes just hearing you talk reminds me of my own life, and then that makes me feel like, okay, let's go back, let's reverse. I can go back and I can make it a better choice for next time when I'm talking to my kids or my husband, or or to myself in the mirror. I think that's really important too, because I think we're all worthy and we're all beautiful no matter where we are in our life.
And it starts with you. Yes. We all say, oh, I want to be a better mother. Oh, I want to be a better wife. I want to be a better daughter or brother. You can't until you can be those things to yourself first, right? You are the parent you have been looking for your whole life. Only you can parent yourself the way you like to be parented, right? All that love you're seeking from externally from a partner or your kids or your mother or your father, it's just love you're craving from yourself. And if you can translate how to execute and practice that love for yourself, you'll be able to love everybody else the same way, because now you know how.
Yeah. It makes me feel so much stronger today. I really like that.
Yeah, and you've come a long way as well, right? I mean, we've been so blessed to witness each other's journeys that it's magical that we're sitting here now sharing what I think is medicine. You hear me call our work medicine often, because I'm really a blend of, like I said, lion and heart. Lion being, let's be successful in the real world. Let's have abundance. Who says we can't be wealthy? Who says we can't be wealthy doing the things we love doing? That's the lion side of me, like anything is possible. The hard side of me is going, but let's tune into the resistance. Let's find out what the unworthiness is. Let's find out why you don't feel capable. And let's go touch those pieces and explore them and poke at them so that they can heal, right? And you're not doing anything different with nutrition, right? It's previous programming, it's previous understanding. You're just unwiring their way of thinking with food and with exercise. And similarly, you just have to do the same thing. Is just unwire those feelings, because all of us are capable. There's enough wealth in the world. There's enough love in the world. There's enough everything in the world for everybody. But it truly starts with you investing in you. You have to choose you first so that you can choose others. And that gets lost on people.
It does.
You know, we often talk about the oxygen mask.
Always put the mask on first.
Put your oxygen mask on first. Like I said, and you're not asking for much. 60, 90 minutes a week. You know, that's all I ask from my clients, is give me 90 minutes a week for you. Are you willing to invest in yourself? And when you do, you've seen the magic, right?
Yeah. It's the fear that a lot of people have. If I do this, it won't work.
Mm-hmm.
And that unfortunately happens because of the way that we think about ourselves.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there some type of meditation that you do, or something very quick that, you know, someone listening to this can say, okay, I'm going to try this and see if it works, just to kind of bring that inner child back? It's something that quiet our mind or something like that before we.
Yeah, I think there's multiple ways. You know, I think I touched on it a little bit earlier. I'll just expand on it. So one way would be journaling and creating yourself a little journal prompt. For example, what can I remember of who I was as a child? And then close your eyes for, 1 minute in complete silence, calm your breath, and then just start writing. Don't even worry. If you don't know where to start, don't write. Just hold the paper and pen. Eventually something will start flowing, and start writing. Don't even judge, just write. And you'll come closer to understanding who you were as an inner child, and then you'll start connecting with your inner child more, because now your inner child is going to go, ooh, someone's listening. I can talk. I can tell them who I am. Right? You're literally just trying to open a portal between you and them and say, hey, I know you're in there. Talk away.
Yeah.
Right? Another way is meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just doing the exact same thing, asking the same question, and then closing your eyes in silence, or even with some meditation music in the background, and just allowing to come forth whatever comes forth. And sometimes it'll come through as playful and jokey. Sometimes it'll come through as, I'm pissed off at you, and here's why. Just let it flow, because you're just now allowing this child to be honest with you. My inner child did not talk to me, like refused to talk to me the first couple of times I sat with him. And that was okay, and now he won't shut up. Right? So it's a journey. And then, the last two things I always recommend is, if you don't like journaling or meditating, voice notes.
Yeah.
We're all sending voice notes to each other all the time. Send yourself a voice note. We're all taking selfies all the time. Throw on the video and just say, I'm feeling this way today. I love nothing more than to record myself, once a month, just saying something, and then going back 2 years later and watching that recording and going back. Like, even if you looked at our previous recording to this one, you will see our evolution.
Definitely.
And those are magical things. It's like the before and after in fitness. So what my body looked like before, this is what my body looks like now. These recordings, these journals will allow you to go back and measure your growth, measure your transformation. And that's when you can celebrate success, because now you're measuring success, right? You can go, yeah, I'm growing. I feel it. I'm a different person. Things are moving for me. Because sometimes it feels like things are moving slowly. If you asked us, how far have you come since our last podcast? And we were just talking, we'd be like, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you actually take a moment to look at that recording and this one, we'll go, wow, so proud of us.
Yeah.
Right? And again, you see how I celebrate how proud I am of myself.
Yeah.
But not from an ego standpoint, from a growth standpoint. Like, I'm so happy that I was able to tune into this.
Yeah.
And these are some ways you can just connect to your inner child and just let it speak to you, whatever comes through. And this is how you'll start realizing, or you're able to tune into, okay, maybe some of these things I want to bring back into my life. Some of these things need to shine. This is where my light is. And that should help somebody you're listening.
Thank you so much for saying that. And thank you for bringing all of this light shining to us and showing us that our inner child is there. I think one of the things that I wanted to share was I started to think about my times where I used to have fun as a child. So I'll close my eyes and remember some memories I had of riding a bike, or, I remember having a room, a really small room, but there was like a little hole in my room, and where I used to put together a ghetto blaster with speakers all over my room, but there was wires all over the room to get to the speakers, so sounds would go in there. And this is where I'm realizing, oh my God, this is right. This is who I am. I build towards a curiosity to see if it works. I build myself things around me to say, will this work? And if it works, I jump with joy. And it worked. I don't care if one wire went through a different ghetto blaster to another speaker, to out of my room into another little light. It worked, Yeah. And so I think when I look at myself as a child, I write down all the things I love to do, which then reminds me of, this is who I am today. Let's go back to that curiosity. Let's go back to that child again and see where I'm supposed to be now. And I think that was great that you brought that up, because it reminds me of so much, especially back home, of the little things I used to do, and bike rides, and the walking through, all the arts and crafts I did. And thank you so much for bringing that. I really hope everyone here listening is able to find that inner child within them, and you'll be able to really close your eyes and like LionHeart said, remove the noise and just concentrate on just one thing that you want, and that's yourself. Tell yourself you're worthy, you're amazing, you're perfect the way you are, you're on a journey, and think of a straight line that you want to go through and continue to walk that path, and you are going to find that answer you're looking for. No matter where you're at, you'll find it. It will take time, but it will get there.
Yeah. And just one more thing to add before we end, actually, is to start that work, always find yourself starting from a place of gratitude, because that work can take you into a little bit of panic, because it seems like a long journey, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes easier, like anything. And the best place to start is gratitude, right? I always say to myself, anytime I'm feeling anxious, or anytime I'm about to go into any deep thought, I'll always say to myself, I am safe. I have shelter, right? I am safe. I have food. I can decide whatever I want to eat today. I can eat it. I am safe. I have clothing. I have clean drinking water. Mm-hmm. I am safe. I have a laptop in which I'm watching this podcast right now. Yeah. Right? I'm okay. So I'm safe. Now I can start this week, right? Just from a place of gratitude. Remember everything that you have and how okay you are and why you're choosing to do this work. And then going into it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, I would add as well, I am safe. I have a beautiful body. Yes. I am safe. I love my legs and my hands. And I'm safe because internally I love myself now and forever, because this is me today. And at the end of the day, I'm also safe because think about all the people you have in your life that love you and care about you, because of them, you're here too as well. It's not just yourself, right? Every single person in your life is a story that you are bringing on. I always say you are the director, the producer of your own story. You write your own story. This is a drama you're going through that you get to write your own story. So why don't you write your story the way you want to write it?
Yeah, it's like I always say, abracadabra. And, the meaning of abracadabra is actually I create as I speak.
I love that.
So, every time you are, having that doubt, just abracadabra, I create as I speak. And one of the exercises I do with my clients in terms of abracadabra and I create as I speak is asking yourself, what if the universe answered yes to everything? So as an example, tomorrow I'm going to have a really tough day. Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Oh man, I'm dreading that conversation. Yes, you are. Or what if, man, that conversation, I think it's going to be difficult, but it's going to be amazing. Yes, it is. Or tomorrow, maybe I should just look forward to it, and I'm looking forward to getting past it. Yes, you are. You know, I am capable of building. Yes, you are. Oh, I don't think I ever could. Yes, you can. You know, change your mind, change your life, right? Change yourself, change the world. I create as I speak. I work that way, right? So start speaking that way to yourself. And again, just watch the magic.
I love that. The universe will always agree to what you say,
Yeah.
despite of what it is. I can't do that.
Yes, you can.
You can't. You're right.
Yeah.
I can, and I'll make it happen. Yes, you
will.
can. I thank you for saying that. I'm scared of trying this because I know I'm not going to do well.
Yes,
Well,
yeah.
Exactly. It's going to happen.
You've already
well.
it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Ali, tell us a little bit about what you do and how people can get a hold of you.
Best way to get a hold of me is on Instagram, LionHeart Method. And again, what I do is coaching. I help you dive into all of these subjects that we talked about today in a much deeper fashion. And the transformation is just really allowing you to work from a state of a clear identity. Really getting in touch with the inner child. We also do some higher self work. Again, I'm using spiritual terms, but it's not done spiritually. It's really done pragmatically, logically, and with actionable items in your real life, so that you can start seeing changes. I also do some energy work and Reiki healing as well. And for all of that work, you can reach out to me on Instagram, LionHeart Method, and that is the best way to reach out to me, or through you. Might be an easy way for you to pass on my number to anyone that doesn't have Instagram and wants to reach me. Yeah, don't worry. I'll make sure that your number is produced in every single paper and this Instagram too. Okay, sounds good. I'm just joking. Anyways, it's really nice to have Ali here today with me, because at the end of the day, I'm feeling so happy that he's here. He's talking to us. It's really nice to see that, through his journey, we're able to learn that everyone can actually go through a beautiful work of love. And I think that's what he says he does, right? He shows you love, and that love is, if you love yourself, you can love others the same way. And that goes with your kids, your relationship, your friends, the people around you, and yourself. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you for being here, Ali. I'm excited to do this live with you. So if anyone that's watching this live, watch it on YouTube too as well, because you get to actually see us. It's actually cool. And other than that, I will send all your information on the description. And for those that are listening, thank you. Would love to see what you guys thought about this podcast today. And, make sure that if you need any help, or if you need anything or any questions, reach out to me or Ali here, or LionHeart, I would say. And have a wonderful, wonderful day. Perfect. Thank you so much, Lish.